I'm Omar. I'm CTO of MBYS. My background, I graduated from Yale in physics, started a few hedge funds in biotech, and then just decided to say, hey, what's more volatile than biotech? Cryptocurrency, might as well do that. So here I am. And I think for me, the most troubling, the clicker, okay. Okay. Okay, there we go. So for me in college, what was the most difficult thing was I was recruiting for all these banks like Goldman, Morgan Stanley, and I was really having a hard time just figuring out like where all the events were. I kept meeting tons of people. It was really difficult. I took a look and said, okay, can LinkedIn help me? And when I'm looking at my LinkedIn mobile, it's pretty much completely useless to me. I'm getting all these like suggested contacts of people I've never seen before, all these invitations to groups that are pretty much useless, and then just jobs that most likely they won't even respond to me. And then basically I have a bunch of spam on my messages. I mean, I don't even know like what these links even are. Like Eros coin, I don't know. So I was like, there's no way of actually understanding who you know, like who's in your network, no way of knowing, like having actual trust, and no way of actually using LinkedIn to get a job or to benefit your network. So, okay, yeah. So the other problem with LinkedIn is basically, there's all this discussion about Cambridge Analytica and Facebook, but one of the biggest thieves of data is also LinkedIn. So like your profile yearly is sold actually for a higher value and more times to third parties than in Facebook. So like your value of your LinkedIn profile is worth upwards of $10,000, some sites say. And users have absolutely no way in saying how to, like where their data goes, but the substantiation is, oh, well, this data is helping you get a job. Well, if I don't want a job, why is my data getting stolen? And then I guess the third problem with LinkedIn for me was once I wanted to start getting into blockchain, there's like basically, essentially no blockchain jobs. There's no one actual location where you can find a whole bunch of blockchain-oriented positions. Even Consensus only has 16 positions, hundreds of positions on their actual website. So all these sites were pretty much useless for me. So then I said, okay, it's time to just reinvent, just start all over and just build something from the ground up, something that basically aims to do three main things. Number one, we want to actually bring back the concept of knowing people in your network. So not like this Facebook model where you just build a massive network and then have some value in it. We want to make it a 100% valuable network. Number two, your data is going to be controlled by you. So you decide who you want to decrypt it, where you want to encrypt it, who to sell it to, and you actually get paid for it. And then number three, because our go-to-market strategy is blockchain-oriented startups and funds, this is kind of like we're targeting the niche of trying to build out like the first actual platform for recruiting in the blockchain space. So this is essentially, this is the first time I'm presenting this product, by the way. So essentially we're built on Ethereum, and BigchainDB is our storage platform. It's a mobile app that's coming out this week. And our token is called the mesh token, which is used to essentially you get paid in the token when you connect with people for selling your data, for staking your token to validate other users' profiles, and also for giving permission for people to connect with your contacts. So what happens is when you enter the platform, you basically just create a profile, which is pretty much exactly the same as in LinkedIn. And this is what give you an example of what it looks like. There's skills, there's what company you worked at, interests, deals, and then something we're working on now is ICOs that you've invested in. So a lot of people claim that they're investors or advisors, and actually there's no one to actually validate that they've done that. So we're partnering with ICOs to have that be validated, but I'll talk about that more later. Documents where you can submit your resume and it just basically populates the profile. And so one other thing is that each one of these red dots basically means that that part of your profile has been validated. So I'll get into that more later. So to grow your network, you basically just transfer your data through either a QR code or an add nearby, as well as or just exchanging a code. So that's basically what it looks like. And this is essentially physically met or people who have given you a code to connect with. So I would have had to have physically texted my code to someone to be able to actually connect with them. So now my network is basically 100% people I physically know. And then from there, the system essentially organizes it intelligently. So as soon as it's populated with people, it basically like interest. So for instance, if Matt Hobbs went to Yale and lives in Munich, he'd be in my Munich group and my Yale group. So that kind of allows you to more like better visualize your network. And then basically to keep up with the people you know, we started this thing called reminders. So for me, I built this, being like the nerd I was back in college. I made a whole spreadsheet of people that I had met through different networking events and realized that like 6 months down the line, I actually wanted to reconnect with these people, but kind of forgot who they were. And like 6 months down the line, no one kind of remembers you. So I was thinking, okay, why is there no way for me to like remember to contact someone after initially meeting them, or why is there no way I can remember someone after like 2-3 weeks? So this is essentially what that is. And you don't have to do this because I know it gets annoying, but it's a pretty useful tool in my opinion. And then from there, you can, once you connect with someone, you can actually contact or attempt to contact. They have to give you permission to connect with them. But what that allows you to do is it basically allows you to do networking within the network. Only 1 degree apart though, so that's not spam. And this is the validation I was talking about. So every time you connect with someone, you're prompted, these are the 5 or 4 positions, 4 parts of their profile that you have in common with this person. So then it asks you, do you want to validate this person? If yes, then you basically just enter this like queue of people that have validated this person. And you essentially stake your token to do this. If 5 people validate, then you basically all get tokens. If 1 person out of the 5 says, no, this is incorrect, then the entire thing basically just falls apart and you have to start over. So that's essentially everything from the user side. And then now from the recruiter side, who are recruiters, and there's been a very huge amount of money spent on validation of resumes as well as actually trying to pay LinkedIn to get data, which like their data is pretty much spam in my opinion. So what recruiters can basically do now is they can do 3 things. They can make events, they can post directly to news feeds. Obviously, both of these things, they pay the platform. And then the third thing is they can do data scrapes. And what data scrapes are is essentially they type in, okay, I want someone who's a Yale student but also knows Solidity. Okay, so then they send that to our web API. We prompt that onto our news feed, which is seen basically right there, Yale Solidity. And then users automatically submit their data. If it matches, then they get paid in tokens. If it doesn't match, then there's no payment and the recruiter. So that's basically what it looks like. So there's like, you just log in, you can make posts. It's a pretty simple interface. And essentially 90% of these data sales go directly to the user. So 40% is allotted for networking rewards. So people, if I interact with you, I get a token. And then 50% of that data sale goes directly to you, which is pretty powerful. And of course, everything's powered by BigChainDB and smart contracts dealing with the encryption and decryption and awarding of tokens. Yeah, and I guess I just want to stress again, like people think that this is a very kind of boring industry, and it kind of is, to be honest. But for me, like someone who went through the recruiting process, I realized how much money is actually being spent on trying to get people to events, but no one actually thinks about, like, are there ways to make this better? Like, number 1, can you make the data more valuable? Number 2, can you help the user actually get a job? And number 3, can you actually help people network better? Which I think people take networking for granted because they think it's an easy thing to do. For some people, it's really not. And so the market potential there is increasing like crazy. And like I said, McKinsey is paying $50,000 for Endorse before I left because I realized they were selling people's data and they weren't actually as decentralized as they said. And I think we're the only ones out there that are saying that you can actually own your data, everyone on the network is real, and you can validate other people. And so for our next steps, we've signed 25 clients to date, including the 2 largest banks in Russia, a bunch of VC funds in America, as well as several startups here in Berlin, as well as in America, particularly in the crypto space. We're launching our product this week. We're going to be doing an airdrop as well, which is still TBD. And then, yeah, we're essentially continuing to enhance our client base. We're bringing on blockchain companies for free, obviously, but then we're going to charge the bank, like the banking companies and the consulting companies. But we hope basically just to continue growing our user base. And we're going to be doing a raise, so if you're interested, you can talk to me later. And these are our social links, so join our Telegram. Yeah. So, thank you. So, question, yeah.
Hi, Omar. Thanks for your presentation. I would like to ask you, is there a nearby function with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so it's essentially just like Snapchat, where you just open up your phone and you type in add nearby. I feel like if you're in some sort of regional distance, you can. Sorry? Yes, yeah, basically, yeah. It's kind of a little bit more complicated than that, but yeah, it's, yeah.
Okay, are you thinking about centralizing this system?
Yes, yeah, we are, yeah.
Like the phone?
Yeah, we've thought about that.
Focusing on your speech on mobile.
Yeah.
I wonder how much you can use such a system on mobile, how efficient it is, and how fast it is, and how it's possible to have this system.
For users, but at the end of the day, for me, what I really want to bring to the table is a better LinkedIn mobile. I don't think we want to first, and then we move on to tackling the bigger issue of like LinkedIn is a monster, we want to fix the entire thing. I think right now the weak point of LinkedIn is their mobile, and that's where we can go in and say, okay, we've redesigned the entire thing, it's better than LinkedIn mobile. If you want to have a good app on your phone to network, you download us. And then in the future, we're going to say if you want to just make money for networking, use us.
So to use the token, users have to use the desktop app. Because there's no MetaMask.
Right, yeah, I mean, so eventually, so that's the other problem, yeah. I mean, so in order for you, but we have this like vesting program where essentially like when our web API comes out, it's going to be like 3 months after, so then you can just do whatever you want with the token after that. So.
You mentioned that there are about 25 companies you already.
Yep.
What exactly are they signing up to? Recruitment, or how are they going to be using the platform initially?
Yeah, so basically all they do is they just submit posts on our platform for events, for jobs, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't have to like purchase data from us, but for now we're giving everything free to blockchain companies anyway, so obviously the 2 banks in Russia, we're going to charge them enough to make us like have money, but yeah. So, but we're still in talks with that.
Okay. Do you somehow create identity?
Yeah, we want to. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, so that's like basically the next thing that we also want to do too is like working with someone like you guys, because for now I think we've like limited the amount of fraud because like you have to actually meet people and your entire profile must be validated, each part of it 5 times before you can even start selling your data. So for the most part, limiting it to people who are real is like kind of reduced it, but I do understand that we have to obviously revise that and make it more robust.
Yeah, I mean, just for cases like I had the translation company, right? So we received every day like 20, like you have no idea.
Yeah.
Because so many profiles are just stolen, and that applies, I think, also to hiring in general. Like you get so many like spam of people just trying to get the job.
Yeah.
Without actually like I don't know, proving who they are, and also maybe pay them a bit of money for applying, because then you can't really spam the whole job network or something like this. So those are quite good cases as well for the combination of technology.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I mean, for sure, we'd love to talk with you guys about it for sure in the moving forward.
So a question on your token economics.
Yeah.
You said you need 5 validations to get 5 approvals to get validated.
Yeah.
And you said those people need to stake their coins to do that.
Right.
So I guess if you sign up in the beginning, you have some coins to do that.
Yeah.
And then if one person says, okay, no, this guy's a fake,
Right.
do the other 4 who validated him lose their stake?
So so this is something we're continuing to work through. And the most recent model we come up with is basically the initial staking that's going to be done on the platform, because you have to buy a certain amount of tokens to access the platform. We don't want someone to, lose that amount and not be able to access the platform. Is we're just going to basically give people like free staking tokens, and then we're altering it from like 1 person to like we're still running tests, but we want to figure out like if 1 or 2 people, we're deciding on 2 basically. If 2 people decide like this is not real, then everyone basically loses their token. But if everyone goes through, then you basically get double the amount of tokens you use to stake.
Right, yeah, because this is, I think, it's going to be crucial to the platform. It's going to be interesting game theory dynamics.
Yeah, and I think once people start using it, we're going to be able to see how many times is something validated given the amount of times people like attempt, and then we can kind of work from there and figure out like is 2 too high, is 1 too low, sort of thing.
Would you ever incentivize the person who's making sure this is not valid? Because otherwise everyone could just validate everything and get their tokens.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the intention is like you're afraid of like losing your token.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, we're also thinking about using others to actually do validations. But now like we like this concept of like, we're basically believing that the community, like once you have a broad enough community of people you've met, it's not going to be a bunch of scammers, hopefully. I mean, I don't know who you guys meet, but yeah.
Just scammers, sorry.
How much are you planning on raising in your raise?
So the pre-sale we're raising, the private pre-sale we want to hit 300,000, and then the full ICO we're still working through the details, but we're targeting around like 15 million for the whole sale, but we're still working through that. So. Cool. Thanks. Thank you.
To you guys for these amazing presentations, and I think from my personal feeling, I'm in the space for some time now, and I really like both companies, both ideas, and so right now I would say happy networking. We will get some pizza, we have drinks in the fridge so you can get some, and let's connect with each other and enjoy the evening.